Hello, everyone, and a happy National Arbor Month to you all. I am Margo Adonis, and I am the Miss Earth South Africa Ambassador. I'm the founder of an environmental protection movement called Visions of Change, and I'm also an international environmental protection activist. My message to you this year for Arbor Month is it is always easy for us to say, let's protect our environment. But imagine on a very warm day, you have one glass of water and every single person in your classroom has to drink from this glass of water. There's no external source. There's only the amount of water that comes in the glass. At some point, one of you will not be able to drink from that glass. So it's the very same concept with our trees. If we as humanity keep taking from the environment without putting back and without replenishing the environment, there will come a day when one of us, in terms of our generations to come, will not have access to it. As humanity, we constantly take from our environment for shelter, for food, for goods and services, such as the paper we write on, the wood to make fire. We are constantly taking from our environment. But the question I'm asking you guys today is, have we begun to give back enough? Are we replenishing enough? And that is my message this year. That is why it's so important for all of us to take a moment every year and plant as many indigenous trees as we can, because the more we put back into the environment, the more we make sure that many generations to come will have access to the beauty and the amazing services that our environment gives us. All you have to do is take a stand, not only as humanity, but as society, and say that together we will do all that we can to not only protect and conserve our environment, but to ensure that we replenish it with everything that we have.
Hi, I'm Phil McLean, and I'm a botanist with the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning in the Western Cape. A botanist is just a fancy word for a person who studies plants. I really like my plants. So I'm here to tell you today why it's important to plant trees, especially around our houses and our schools and buildings. So when we build, we often build with concrete. And concrete is quite a lacquer substance to build with, but when the sun shines on it, it gets very hot. And that heat just warms up the air around us. Plants and trees, on the other hand, are very cool because they take that sunlight. Firstly, they provide shade for us on the underside, but they take the sunlight and the air that we breathe out, they turn it into food. Food for themselves and food for birds and insects, but also sometimes food for people. So they're very, very useful. Trees provide these things called ecological infrastructure, which is basically just things that the environment does for us for free, like providing oxygen and food and even shade. Planting trees is very important, but invasive alien trees from other countries are like big green deserts. They don't provide food for any of the local birds or wildlife, and some of them don't even provide food or benefits for us. Indigenous trees, on the other hand, are excellent because indigenous just means a tree that's from the area where you're going to plant it. When you plant an indigenous tree, it produces food for local wildlife like birds and insects, so it allows you to enjoy nature right where you live, right where your school is.
Ek is Haan van Wijngaard en ek werk by die Wes-Kaapse Omgewingsake en Ontwikkeling Beplanning. Ek is 'n omgewingswetenskaplike en ons is vandag hier om oor bome te praat. Bome het ongelooflike baie voordele vir ons en ons kan suurstof kry by hulle, kos en vir vermaaklikheid ook. Ons omgewing deesdae het verskriklik baie konkreet en dit is verskriklik warm. Dit het nie baie voordele vir ons nie, dis hoekom ons meer bome moet plant. Bome, mens kry verskillende tipe bome. Indringerbome is nie regtig goed vir die omgewing. Ander diere kan nie by die pad vind nie en word as groenwoestyne gesien.
So I want to show you some tips and tricks to helping your trees survive, particularly through the hot, dry summers that we get in the Western Cape. You have to remember with a tree, the roots that grow near the top of this bag and when the tree is growing out in the soil are hunting for nutrients under the soil. Roots that are looking for water are right at the bottom, the tap roots that grow down deep. So in order to get enough water to those taproots to help the tree survive, I've got two very simple things that I got from throwaway material. This one is just somebody's old pool pipe. When you plant this tree, plant it with the pipe sticking slightly above the lip of the soil, with the bottom of the pipe down towards the taproots that are going to need the water. The other one is equally simple. It's just an old 5-liter water bottle that I've put some holes in the bottom. And just like the first example, I'm going to plant it next to the tree with just the neck sticking above the level of the soil. Then when I water this bucket fills up, the bottle fills up with water, the water will slowly leak out through those holes right at the level of the roots that are looking for water. There's an old saying, never put a 100 Rand tree into a 10 Rand hole. So before you start, dig a really big hole to allow these roots to expand, and they don't have to fight against really hard soil when they're getting started. The next thing you want to do when you've finished filling the hole is keep a dam, so fill up the tree in a depression inside in your hole, so that when you fill water in, that water doesn't run off down the slope and water some other things you don't want them to. The water stays on your tree and soaks down to the roots. The other thing is you don't have to water your tree every single day, every second day maybe, but certainly at least once a week with a good deep soaking so that water can soak down and the roots can go hunting for permanent water down low so that they can survive. There's one more trick, also using a pool hose. I've cut this pool hose down the middle so that it's got a slit, and we slide that over the base of the tree. That just protects the tree from the guys that come and mow the lawn so that the weed eater doesn't chop the base of the tree and damage it. This should keep your tree safe and happy over summer, and next year you'll have a beautiful tree in your yard.
Ek is hier vandag om vir julle 'n paar wenke te gee van hoe om 'n boom suksesvol te plant in ons warm Wes-Kaapse klimaat. Ons eerste wenk sal wees om 'n 5-liter bottel met gat aan die onderkant langs die boom in te plant. Dit sal voorsien dat die water onder die wortels kan kom van hierdie boom. 'n Tweede wenk sal wees om 'n pyp, enige pyp, te plant langs die boom en op water hierin te sit. Dit sal ook sorg dat die boom se onderste wortels lekker water kry. 'n Derde wenk wat ons kan gebruik is enige pyp om te sny om die boom se stingel. Dit beskerm die boom as mense gras sny wat dan dalk die boom sal beskadig. Daar is 'n ou gesegde wat sê dat mens moenie 'n 100 Rand boom in 'n 10 Rand se gat plant nie. Dit beteken dat ons moet 'n lekker diep gat grawe met die boom onder die oppervlak van die grond sodat hy 'n lekker dammetjie kan maak. Dit sal dan sorg dat daar lekker water kan indring tot die diep wortelstelsel van die boom.
Everyone, I'm Lee Kelly and I'm a graduate intern at the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning within the Environmental Law Enforcement component. So nature is all around you. It's within the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, and even in the climate that makes our planet home. Everything comes from nature. The reason I decided to study biodiversity and conservation biology is because I've had a passion for it as far as I can remember. I have a natural affinity to animals and plants and how it just all functions together. The course focused on both zoology and botany, and the work opportunities were very vast. What I most look forward to within my career is establishing myself within an environmental or conservation focused organization where I can actively partake in making a difference within society and teaching our youth that nature matters and everything we thrive on comes from nature and that it deserves to be looked after. So happy Arbor month, guys.
Hi, I'm Lynn Jacobs, and I am an environmental officer at the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning. Everything that we need comes from nature. From the food we eat, the water we drink, the medicine that we have, even the building materials, just to name a few. Everything comes from nature. That was one of the reasons I actually decided to study environmental management. I basically wanted to leave a lasting legacy a positive legacy for future generations to enjoy our environment and the benefits that it provides the way we are enjoying the environment now. And that is actually one of the reasons I love my job, because I know that the work that we do will have a lasting impact on the environment.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Darren Lindrum, and I am a graduate intern at the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning in the Directorate of Environmental Law Enforcement. Nature is all around you, from the air you breathe, the food you eat, the water you drink, and the climate that makes our planet home. All of this comes from nature. I decided to study an undergraduate degree at Stellenbosch University in Development and the Environment and an honours degree in Geography and Environmental Studies in order to help both myself and others reconnect with their surroundings and to learn more and more about our environment and how we can conserve it. And also because I couldn't picture myself working in an office for 40 hours a week. So I decided to study environmental studies so that I can get some time to work outside, but also so that I could have a job that would support me financially, but also benefit the environment. As our climate and environment is changing, we are experiencing more and more disasters. Because of this, I went further and I did my master's in disaster risk science. Whether these disasters are man-made or natural, they have negative effects on both people and the environment. And if we can learn to manage our environment effectively and learn from past disasters, then we can try and prevent future disasters from happening, or at least minimize the negative effects that they have on both people and the environment. And as I said, because our climate is changing and our environment, we are experiencing more and more disasters, and thus our environment is experiencing serious challenges. These challenges require adjustments to the way we live, work, play, and govern. So we need more and more people to be educated on environmental issues, and whether we learn to adapt to these or mitigate them, we need people who are particularly skilled to do so. Therefore, if you are in love with the environment and you're considering an environmental degree, I really encourage you to do so because we need you.
I'm and I'm a graduate intern at the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning. Nature is all around us, from the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, climate that makes our planet our home. It all comes from nature. I decided to study nature conservation purely by chance. I was nominated for Biodiversity. So I was granted the opportunity to study anything of my choosing, and my choices were HR, nursing, and nature conservation. So the underlying similarity that all of these career paths had was that they seemed to benefit society, and that was my aim. And for me, nothing is more beneficial to society than being an advocate for the environment. The environment is the foundation in which civilization is based upon. It's in every hike we take, every piece of clothing we wear, and every medicine which heals us. I think what intrigues me most about the environmental sector is that there's constantly change. Nothing is set. So you can't have just one mentality. You're going to constantly have to adapt to things that are coming, like with the new information and the new knowledge and with the new people that you meet. You just have to constantly adapt, learn and grow. And I think what I'm most looking forward to is just gaining experience and imparting my knowledge onto others from my experience gained. What just makes things easier is that if you're passionate about something, you never have to work a day in your life. And I'm passionate about the environment. And if you're passionate about something, I think it just stimulates others to kind of go the extra mile, or just actually kind of drives you to go that extra mile. And I think with anything that you do, it's just important to put in that effort and just the care to actually just do something right and do something proper, just so that you can yield beneficial results.
Imagine if trees provided free Wi-Fi. We'd be planting trees everywhere. It's too bad they haven't provided the oxygen that we breathe.
Dink net bome het vir ons verniet internet gegee. Almal sou bome geplant het. Dis jammer hulle gee net vir ons die suurstof wat ons nodig het om asem